Hey guys, today is going to be a homeschool end of year curriculum review for first grade. Hey guys, I'm Stacey and today I'm going to be showing you guys what my twin boys who are in first grade did this past year. I love seeing videos like this and I hope you guys enjoy watching it and find it helpful if you're looking for ideas for next school year. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for following along on our journey. I love creating clips of my life to share with you guys. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad to have you guys here. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys what worked and what didn't. And I have all my books around me here and I'm gonna show you guys. With homeschooling twins, it can be a challenge, or anytime you have two kids in the same grade, maybe you have siblings that are close in age or special needs or something and they're in the same grade. And at least with my twins, their learning style is different. And so that creates a challenge. It's a fun challenge, but it is a challenge to try to figure out how to reach each of them. My one twin, he has a short attention span and he needs things to be like action and involvement and movement. He tells me, Mom, my legs just feel like they want to move. And my other twin, he is able to move a little bit faster. You can like tell him something one time or maybe two times and he, for the most part, remembers it. And then the one twin, he's stronger in math and math comes easy for him. The other twin is he's stronger in reading and reading comes more easy for him. And so they each have their strong point, which I'm really glad for, but it can be a challenge to find curriculum that works for both of them. So far I have used like the same curriculums for each of them. I haven't split them up for anything yet, but I am thinking about it for next year, but I'll get more into that when I do my curriculum reveal video for second grade. That'll be coming out in a month or so. So if you haven't yet, make sure you click on that subscribe button and click that bell if you want to be notified when that video goes live. I'm guessing it'll be in another month or so. Okay, so now getting into my curriculum. One challenge with living overseas is shipping. Most of the curriculum comes from the United States and shipping books, you know, can be really expensive. We live in Cambodia and shipping here is unreliable. So even if you pay a lot of money to get your book shipped here, we occasionally have boxes that just go missing and we don't know what happens to them. So I really like using curriculum that is available by PDF. And today we have several options of that. I think in the past that used to not be an option, but I'm really thankful for that. We use The Good and the Beautiful for our language arts. This I got by PDF and I printed here locally and they can only print in color on one side. So this ended up being like a big, huge, thick book. I got it printed locally here at like a hole in the wall place. But for next year, we got a new printer. And so I'm so excited because I'll be able to print in color double-sided and my books won't be quite so thick. This is a fat book for like a first grader and it can feel overwhelming for my boys to sit down and be like, we're gonna do this whole book. If I would have known it was going to be this thick, I would have told them to bind it like separately, but I didn't know that until I went to pick it up and they already had it printed and everything. Anyway, so for language arts, we use The Good and the Beautiful level K. And if you guys are familiar with The Good and the Beautiful at all, you know that their curriculum is a little bit advanced. So a level K would be more like what a normal first grader is doing. So my boys, when they were in kindergarten, we did all about reading and I really liked that program, but it wasn't available by PDF and I needed something available by PDF. So we went with Good and Beautiful and I ended up really liking them. Every lesson is not the same. Every lesson is different. And so it's not just like repetition and tons of boring stuff like that. At the front, they have sight word ladders that are like, they're supposed to memorize them and work on them. What I do is I put them on big pieces of paper and use them as flashcards. I put them on the floor or on our steps and have the boys jump up and down on them, jump up and down the steps. We also have tons of tile here, and so I will use like a dry erase marker and write ABCs on the tile floor. And then like to spell a word, instead of always having them write, I'll have them jump on the letters that would spell the word. And then I also like to use like stickers. I'll write sight words on stickers and then they have to, I'll say like find the sight word, whatever, and they have to find that sticker and put it on their paper. Just different things like that to mix it up because my boys, yeah, they're very active boys and short attention span, especially the one. And so I try to keep it interesting and fun. Another thing my boys love is when I use a dart. They have, what's those guns? My husband made this dry erase board back here. That's just a piece of glass. I'll write their sight words on there with dry erase marker and then they have to use their little guns and shoot the word I say, or I'll put out sticky notes and hang it on the wall, turn off all the lights and they have to use flashlights and go around and find a word and then read it to me correctly. So we use The Good and the Beautiful, but I do kind of put my own twist on it and make it more fun for them. For the most part, I follow the lessons, but I just, like if it says writing and they've already done some writing that day, then I'll have them, you know, jump on the letters to spell the word or different things like that. Mix it up. And then the level K also comes with phonics cards and readers and this reader. And then I also picked up this past year in the States the box set beginner books C and D. And so the boys enjoy reading these also. And repetition at this age is so good for them. So I will have them read the books like, I'll say like, hey, you have to pick the same book you read last time, because repetition helps them to become familiar with the words, and it comes easier and it feels more doable for them. They're like, hey, I kind of remember this. And then 2 additional books my boys enjoy reading themselves is the Elephant and Piggy books. We're borrowing these from a friend, but these are just simple words, simple pages with not a lot of font. I do usually sit beside them when they're reading and occasionally come to a word where I have to help them read it, but it's okay. It's fun, it's silly, and kids love things that are silly. Okay, one more component of language arts is we do Explode the Code. We started out the year doing 1.5, and we made our way through that really, really slowly. Then we did book number 2, and we went pretty fast through that one. And then we just started on book 3, and so we'll probably continue this into 2nd grade. I really like having Explode the Code because sometimes I like to hand it to one boy while I'm working with the other boy listening to him read. And sometimes if the one twin like leaves and goes and plays, it's really hard to rein them back in when it's their turn to read to me. So it's easier for me sometimes if I just keep them there at the table and just hand them like a page to do in here while the other one's reading to me. Oh, I forgot to say, if you're not familiar with The Good and the Beautiful, their language arts is more than just language arts. It's phonics, reading, spelling, literature, grammar, punctuation, and art appreciation, which is really nice. You don't have to have different curriculums for each thing. Okay, and then this is their handwriting. I really like their handwriting because it has like pictures and drawing and coloring sometimes mixed in with it. Like here is a cute picture. It said, draw a picture of your choice, and they drew a picture of Mom and Zadok. So that's really cute. Here they had to practice copying the picture, and this was more towards the front and different lines and stuff they had to trace and copy. My boys enjoyed doing handwriting. For them, it would often become a competition. They're really competitive. They would try to see who can get done with their page first. So I'd often have to remind them that it's not about getting done first, it's about who can do a neater job. And that was definitely a challenge for them to slow down and try to stay inside the lines. And I had to pay attention to them, or else they would just race through it and not really learn how to write neatly. Okay, next of all was math, and this was definitely a hit. I love the Good Beautiful Math. I know they're coming out with a new one, and I'm excited about that too, but I did really like this one. It's very hands-on, and I wish I would have been taught using this way when I was in school. It comes with a whole kit, and it's full of manipulatives, and it's full of all different games and stuff like that, and yeah, I really like it. I really like how they teach like one concept, they'll teach multiple different ways in different lessons, multiple ways to solve it, and I really appreciate that about this. And again, because my boys are very hands-on, short attention span, they love the games and different things you had to put out on the floor and have them jump on the correct answer and stuff like that, and that is right up their alley. And this also, it comes with, they'll prompt you in the lessons. It comes with some songs you listen to online to memorize like the months of the year. It comes with calendar work, so you don't have to have a separate calendar. And there's a couple different YouTube videos you can go on to watch, or on their website, like months of the year, days of the week, 24 hours in a day, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour is a little song they sing to help you with that. The only part of this that I did not do was the coins. So we live out of the US, and where we live, they don't use coins at all. So I introduced the concept of coins to them, showed them, what a penny, a dime, a nickel, a quarter is, and then that was it. I just skipped those parts when it said to work on that. I would just work on like counting by 5s or counting by 10s or counting by whatever. And talking about that, I really like this book from Usborne. It's Counting to 100. For example, here when you count to 50, each house has 5 windows on it. So you can practice counting by 5s up to number 50. Here's 60, there's 60 groups of 10 fish. 70, or 80, there's 10 groups of the leaves. And it has different questions, like you have to find different things on the pages. And then on 100, there's 10 groups of stars. So this was fun because that's what they are learning a lot in level 1. At the beginning of this past school year, we traveled to the States for 4 months to see family, and I didn't want to haul along our big books, and plus I really like trying out different curriculums, researching them, stuff like that. So while we were there, I picked up a Becca math book, and I did this when I was in school. I remember the pages being colorful and fun, but it also can have some busy work. So we did this while we were in the States, and then we came back here, and maybe on Fridays, for Fun Friday, I'll go through and pick out a couple things that I think would be fun for them to do. They don't do everything on every page. Like I'll have them do just like the evens or the odds, or I'll have them do parts I think would be fun for them, and we skip something that is something that they already know. And so what I do is I go through, I divided the book in half. I got it loose leaf, divided in half. So like each twin would have like every other lesson in their book. So like one lesson would be one page, like the front and the back of this page. And as you can see, it's like bright and colorful. And we're not done with this because we only do like 1 to 2 lessons a week in here. We use the Good and Beautiful Math as our main math. And the Good and Beautiful Math is definitely enough. I just picked this up because of us being in the States and traveling, and I just wanted to try it out. I do like this, it's okay. And since we're not done with this yet, we will just continue to work on this over this summer. Okay, then one other thing, we did Christian Light Education, their Learning to Read program, the last 5 light units. So there's 10 of these little books. These are light units in this Learning to Read program. And we did the first 5 in kindergarten, and then we did the last 5 in first grade. And it worked out really good because the Good and Beautiful, towards the end, it gets to a place where if they can't read a certain box of words in a minute, you're supposed to just hit pause and practice reading for a while. So that's what we did, and during that pause we pulled out these last 5 light units that I had left, and we worked on them, and it just presented like a different way of teaching the same information. And so a lot of it was familiar to them, but maybe presented in a new way. This here is a very, very thorough program. So like every single thing they made sure they taught, like every single 3-letter consonant blend, and like all the double vowel blends and the silent E and all that kind of stuff, it really worked on in here. I would say this here has some busy work because it is made for a classroom, and so we didn't always do everything in here, but I would pick and choose the parts that I knew would help my boys. So I really like this program. I did a thorough review of it on my YouTube channel, so I will link that down below if you would like to see that. And you can get like flashcards and readers that go along with this program, but I didn't get them because I didn't have room to bring all that stuff in my luggage when we flew back here to Cambodia. All right, so that's math, language arts, and handwriting, and our main curriculum was the Good and Beautiful, and then I just used other things here and there because of us traveling and yeah, different things like that, like I already explained. Okay, next of all, I'm going to talk about health and history. When I was in the States, I picked up these little thin books from Becca, and these are old ones I got off of eBay. This is Health, Safety, and Manners, and I just read it as a read aloud. It's got bright, colorful pictures, and it just goes over each of those topics a little bit. I really like the manners part, but the health and safety was really good too. It talks about like brushing your teeth and flossing and just reinforcing all those things you want kids at this age to learn. And then the history was really good because it just kind of introduced them to America, which is their passport country, even though we don't live there. And it was really good information, like explaining what the flag is, what the Statue of Liberty is, what the president does is, not who he is because it was a really old edition, but what he does, what his responsibilities are. It also was talked about freedom of speech, which was interesting because of the times and all we're going through right now. And then, yeah, that was really fun. We read those as a read aloud. I don't have the history here to show you because I already put that up in my storage room. We finished it a while ago, and I'm saving it to do with my next boy. Okay, so next of all, I'm going to show you science, and we would usually do science in the afternoon when the baby was napping. So the first science unit we did was safety from the Good and the Beautiful, and I really like this one. It had a lot of different things that you did, like activities to go with the lessons, stuff like that. It has little mini books. I put it in a protective sleeve. I can pull it out to read to the boys. This here is a thing I just got locally. It already has like these pages. I think it's come with like 20 pages in here, and so it's easy just to stick in here. You'll see here I'll show a couple different ways that I tried experimenting with organizing unit studies from Good and Beautiful. So I'll show you here. I have them on my lap. But yeah, we really like the safety one. It's definitely a good one to do with younger kids. Okay, next of all, we did this at the same time as the safety one. This is from Gather Round. It is Earth Science, and I got the early reader edition. And then this is the teacher one, and I have 2 of these for each of my twin boys. And this here, I would say, was a miss. We did not really like this one. The text was kind of boring or like written over my kids' heads. They didn't really get it. And it ended up being busy work because it does cover more than just like science. It covers like language arts, I don't know, a bunch of different things. I forget what all it covers. It was a while ago we did it. But I ended up not really liking it. And that's not to say that all Gather Round units we wouldn't like, I don't know. We've only tried this one, and I know that for us personally, we just didn't necessarily love it. And it's probably just because of the age of my kids. Okay, the next science unit I did was Mammals. Whoa. Mammals from the Good and Beautiful, and this I experimented with putting it's like a binder with protective sleeves, 5-star. I think I got this at like Walmart when we were in the States, and this was okay way of binding it. I'll show you my favorite though, it's coming. This one here, again, I liked This comes with a bunch of stickers, and I have a map on the wall here, and you have to put, when you learn about the different animals, you have to put the sticker on the map on the wall where it lives, which was really fun for my boys since we did travel during the school year to different continents, and so they kind of understand how far apart that is and how different continents are different and climates and stuff are different, and so it's fun for them to see where, oh, this animal is close to grandma's house, this animal is close to our house. Like, yeah, it made it personal for them. Anyway, so Mammals go through and studies different animals, and I got some read aloud books that I went with this, like picture books, and I got a little pack of animals for them to play with while we were doing this lesson. And one other thing I did was I have this Usborne book, Step-by-Step Drawing Animals, and it's just like this, and instead of having them draw in there, I got them each their own little primary journal. Oh, this was a read aloud I did. 9 Days Lost in the Wilderness Alone, a 12-year-old, a true story. So they'd draw a picture and then I would write some about it. And then back here they would draw, like while I was reading the lesson about the certain animal from the Good and Beautiful Mammals unit, they would draw a picture of it. So sometimes they would color them and sometimes they wouldn't. And my boys are not into writing. I tried to get them to write a little bit about it, but they were more into the drawing, which was fine. I found with the Good and Beautiful Science units, they're a little bit wordy for my boys because they have short attention spans. They're just in first grade. And so I found it best to keep their hands busy while I was reading to them. And some of the lessons have activities go with it. Like in the lesson in here where they learned about an elephant, there was a puzzle of an elephant. And then they had to, like, as I talked about the head, they had to put the head piece of the puzzle on. Or if I talk about the ear, they put that piece on. So that was really good. And then some of the lessons I found I needed to find stuff for them to do with their hands. So we would do the drawing, or occasionally I would print out pictures and they would color them. And we often had the 3-year-old sitting in with us too, and he would enjoy coloring too. He loves coloring. So the Mammals unit was definitely a good one to do with young kids also because of it's a topic that they're interested in already. Okay, the next one I did was marine biology, and for marine biology I actually found a group on Facebook where the guy, he taught the lesson, and so we did a lesson every day and we were done with it in 3 weeks, so it went really fast. It was okay. It was nice because I didn't have to teach the lesson, but at the same time, the level he taught it was a little bit over my boys' head, and they would get bored pretty quickly. But he had included with each lesson printables of different marine life, and so they would color these. My 3-year-old joined us too. I think this is one he colored, and so this kept their hands busy while they were listening to him. But I would sometimes skip parts of the lesson because it was just over their heads. So that part wasn't so great. I don't know if I would do it again. But the one thing I really did like was that he included a lot of links to videos that went along with what we were learning. And my boys really enjoyed that. A lot of them were like 3-minute to 5-minute videos on YouTube. Okay, and then lastly, we are currently still working on Water in Our World from the Good and Beautiful, and I bound this one myself while we were in the States. I got a Pro Click binder, and this is definitely my favorite way of binding it because it's not so bulky. And then on the pages where I needed to cut out stuff or like do the little books, I put a protective sleeve just right in with the binding, and I can slip it then in and out if I need to. And this binding you can open and close and reuse. So after this one, I can take this apart and use this binding for another one if I need to. And so far the boys really like it, but we're not done with it yet. Okay, and then also while we're in the States, I picked up from Master Books their Life for Beginners Science, God's Designed Life for Beginners. And I believe Answers in Genesis, like Ken Ham, in combination with Master Books together wrote this. And I really appreciate the simplicity of it. So with this here, like it's very, very open and go, and it's very simple, brief, short lessons. Like I would say we're done with a lesson in 10 minutes, less maybe. And this book is divided into 3 parts. It's about plants, the human body, and animals. And so we only did plants so far, and then I'm gonna save human body and animals for next year, and we'll finish this book next year. So between Master Book Science and the Good and Beautiful Science, I really like both. They both have good parts about them. Master Books is very open and go and very short lessons, and it's definitely like very elementary, age appropriate. And then the Good and Beautiful is a little more hands-on, a little bit more to the lesson, a little more rich and a little more depth, but it also can sometimes be a little too wordy, and I have to like either skim it over first before I read to the boys and kind of paraphrase it for them, or I have to keep their hands busy while they're listening to me, like coloring or drawing or something like that. So neither one is like bad, they're both good, they just have their separate strong points. One thing I like about the Good and Beautiful, they have a YouTube video of every science experiment, which is really fun, so we should go watch the video first and then decide if we actually want to try making the mess and do the experiment ourselves or not. So it just depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for something simple and sweet and do it and get it over with, or if you want something a little bit deeper and richer, it depends how much you like science and how much your kids are interested in that topic. Oh, and I forgot to mention the Good and Beautiful Science units, they come with a vocabulary wall. So you'll have vocabulary from the different unit that you're learning. Right now we're doing water, and so these are the vocabulary we learned so far. And I'll continue to fill this up. I'm sure the board will be more than full till we're done. So yeah, that's another component of it. Okay, so I have some failures that are coming, and I'll put those at the end of this video, so stay here. The next thing I'm going to show you is definitely a hit and a success, and this is new for us. When we were in the States, I went on eBay and bought used curriculum. I'm definitely a fan of getting used curriculum if I can to try to save some money, and I picked up Sunlight. So with us living overseas, it can be hard to find good literature, that like books that are in English without paying like an arm and a leg for shipping and stuff like that. There is like one library that we have gone to in the past at a school, but it has been closed for over a year now because of the pandemic that's going on in the world, and we don't have access to that. And so I was trying to figure out how would be a good way to do read-alouds, and so I had known about Sunlight, but it came highly recommended from a friend. So I went on eBay and bought a old teacher's manual off of eBay, and this is the Intro to World Cultures Core A. I thought this would be good for my boys since they are little world travelers and interested in different cultures and countries. It's definitely an interest of theirs. So this is a huge book. This one came with language arts in it, and I didn't want the language arts part of it. I'm just using it for the history, Bible, and literature part, mostly the literature part of it. So the one thing I like is that the Bible and the history kind of go together. Like if you read the story about Egypt in the Bible story, then when you go to your history part, the one book you'll be reading about like Egypt back then. Some lessons coincide like that and some did not. So yeah. So we've only started Sunlight, the history, Bible, literature part of it in January. So we're only about, not even probably quite halfway through it. And I mostly am using it for the literature aspect of it. We did try out their Bible suggestion, which is this Bible here. And the way it's written is interesting, but it doesn't have much pictures. There's like one picture every so often. Some are black and white, and then some are in color. So it was, my boys lost interest in it pretty pretty easily. They'd get very distracted. So I have other Bible story books I'll show you later when I show you what's in our morning basket that I enjoyed more, and I would just read the story that they're supposed to be reading to go with the lesson. So this was a miss, but the rest of the books, I think all the other books of the Sunlight literature part we liked so far that we read. So I will show you just a couple of the literature read-alouds that we've done already, and then when I do my second grade picks for next year, I'll show you the rest of the ones that we haven't read yet. So we've read James Herriot, The Treasury for Children, and this has beautiful pictures in it. My 3-year-old enjoyed sitting and listening and looking at the pictures with us too. Next was My Father's Dragon, 100 Dresses, The Story of Ping. This is not necessarily the order we read them in, they're just the order in my stack. This is a poem book, A Treasury of Mother Goose, and my boys really enjoyed this one. And like they remembered the poems. They'd be talking about them a day or two later, like not have it memorized, but remember like the meaning behind the poem. So every other page is in color, and my 3-year-old enjoyed this one too. When I'd be done reading, they'd be like, read another page. So we finished this one really fast. And then we've read maybe 4 or 5 other ones from the Sunlight literature pack, but a friend is borrowing them, so I don't have them to show you, but they were all hits. And then like I said, I will show you the rest of them when I do my second grade reveal of what curriculum we're using next year. So living overseas, I'm really glad to have Sunlight and to have these books that are like age appropriate for them. And 2 other books that my boys have really enjoyed is Narwhal, Peanut Butter and Jelly, and then Narwhal, Otter Friends. These are written like in comic form, and we read the whole books in one sitting, which is surprising because my boys don't usually sit that long. But this held their attention and they thought it was funny. They loved them. So I definitely would recommend these. I think there is more in the series. We borrowed these from a friend and they were definitely a hit. Okay guys, I'm getting there. So last of all, I have our morning basket, and then I have 2 little misses. Okay, so next time I'm going to show you our morning basket, and we do like a devotions, a Bible with that, and then we also do family devotions every evening before bed. So with our family devotions in the evening, we are doing Indescribable right now, and that's definitely a good hit, a big hit, but it's in their room and the boys are sleeping, and so I don't have to show it to you guys. But the Bible we did this past year was my first hands-on Bible, and it's interactive, and I got this recommendation from Dina, Pursuing Peace, and it has like when you're reading the story, it has like a little green hand here, and then you find the green hand and it'll have like a hands-on activity that they do to go with that part. And then it has a couple questions, maybe a prayer, an activity you can do, different things like that, and then you're on to the next lesson. So yeah, I like this one for preschoolers and just younger kids. The next thing is, this is from Bear and Squirrel, and these are little cards, Choose Wisely cards, and it gives a little story, and then on the back it says, what would you do? And it gives a couple options, and over here it gives Bible insight, like a Bible verse to go with it, and you just do one a day and discuss them. They're really good quality cards, and I will link them down below. Definitely recommend these. They start a good conversation. Our current reading aloud is in Grandma's attic, and this is one of the books from Sunlight. Next in our morning basket is what's new, what's missing, what's different, and this was recommended from Timberdoodle, which is a homeschool curriculum company, and this is, you just have to find what's missing or different or wrong with each picture and circle it and different stuff like that. It's kind of a critical thinking along that line, and my 3-year-old can do it with us too, which is fun. Okay, the next 3 books here go along with our Sunlight literature pack. This is the Usborne Children's Encyclopedia, and this is, yes, a very old edition. This is the Usborne Book of Wild Places. This is fun to look at. My boys especially enjoy the jungle section since we live in a tropical country. This is the Usborne Book of Living Long Ago. My boys really enjoyed this one too. It just like piques their imagination. This is another kind of critical thinking one. It's Can You Find Me? And this is by the Critical Thinking Co. This is for grades K through 1. And it's like a poem, and then it describes which picture, and you have to try to figure out which one it is. So each one's like a puzzle. We just do 1 or 2 pages in here a day. All right, next of all, this past school year, we did map work. So first of all, we worked on memorizing the continents, and I got this as a free printable from Tot Schooling, and I just put Velcro on them. At the beginning of the school year, they didn't know all the continents, but now they do, so yeah, that definitely worked. And then now we're working on a world map, and this is just a like sturdy, heavy-duty one from Melissa and Doug, and you can actually write on here with a pencil and erase it if you need to. But I'll ask them where different countries are, and they have to point to it, or where does so-and-so live, and they have to point to it, different stuff like that. So I don't follow any like curriculum for this, I just do it on my own. All right, next of all, this is a new resource that I recently found. It's by Paper and Premise. So I use this for Bible memory. So you can get a pack, I think, of several different scriptures in it, and several different, like this one here is just the picture with no writing, and then this one here is the picture with the writing prompt. So what I do is I give my boys the one with just the picture, and they look at that, and then I look at this one here, and we'll just read down over it. And it's amazing how fast kids can memorize scripture this way. So this is what we're currently doing for Bible memory. Also for Bible memory during this past year, we would go on YouTube and watch where people took like verses and put music to them and then memorize it that way too. So both of those are really good ways to memorize scripture with, especially with young kids, but with any kids. And then very last of all, my morning basket, this actually is more, I go on a date with my boys once a month, and we'll go to a little coffee shop or something like that. And this is more like emotional. So this is coping skills for kids, and just works with anxiety and calming down mechanisms, gives them tools for their toolbox. And then this one here is a copy, but it's what to do when you dread your bed, and it goes through and gives them, again, different tools and just talking about it. Like if they're scared of monsters, there's some tips and tricks in here for that. It's a workbook that you go through and work with your child, and I believe this you can get on Amazon. It's by Dawn Hubener, PhD. Anyway, I will link it down below if I can find it, but if your kid is scared of bedtime, I'd recommend this to work through and just give you a starting point for a conversation with them. Okay, I'm almost done, guys. 2 things that ended up being a miss for us this past school year was I had gotten this as a free PDF. It's from Evan Moore, and it's Daily Fundamentals. So each day there's 1 paper to go over. Like this, so it's just one side is all you do. The next day you do the next side, the next day you do the next side, and we ended up simply not doing it. So to me, it was most important that we focused on their reading, math, and then just literature, like reading good books. And so things, extras like this, just tend to fall by the wayside. The other thing we never got to this past school year was Jotted Down by Brave Writer, and I really wanted to. This is like the teacher or mom edition, and this here you go through and basically your kid tells you a story and you write it down for them. At the end you have like this book of stories that your kid wrote, which I love the idea, but we just never got to it. We just ran out of time. I would love to still maybe do this in the future, but I don't want to say that too loud because I may not actually get to it. I think it could be a really special thing to have in the future, and I think it could be fun to do. We just with us traveling 4 months this past year and stuff, we just couldn't get around to everything. Okay, so that is all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I did with my twins for 1st grade, what worked and what didn't work, and let me know down in the comments below if you are homeschooling twins, especially boys with short attention spans. I'd love to know, or just kids in the same grade. I would find that interesting too. In the YouTube homeschool videos, you don't see very often people talking about homeschooling 2 kids in the same grade and the challenges and blessings that come with that. So I would be interested to know if you're doing that. And then I hope you enjoyed seeing this. I hope it was helpful. My heart in this is to be helpful, not to make you feel overwhelmed. Don't feel like you have to do all this stuff. I'm just giving you ideas of things you could do if it looks like something that'd be of interest. All right, thanks for following along on our journey. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys again next week. I put a new video up every Friday. Thank you, bye.